Day 55, Dayton, Ohio, here we come. The Wright Brothers Workshop. The Wright Brothers Workshop, where they were making and repairing bicycles before they started flying airplanes. The helicopter that inspired the Wright Brothers. Model of the 1902 flyer. Dayton, Ohio. A silo. Farmland. Oh no. Ohio's another Iowa. The Charles Young House. He was an African American soldier who served in the West. One of the Buffalo Soldiers, as they were called. He went on and eventually became a colonel in the Army. When the parking lot isn't motorhome friendly, pretend you're a car. They're into yellow foliage.
Wasn't like yellow, orange,
Well,
gold, and it shines in the
yeah,
sun.
gold. Gold is a good color. They're into gold foliage. Morning. The river is deep and rapid. Somehow that doesn't impress me as being rapid. So we're down here at the Mound City Group, which we're going to walk through in just a minute. On the other side of the river, a mile or two away, is another large rectangular enclosure and one of the large circular enclosures, a couple small circles and some more parallel walls. They built a lot of earthworks. This is the far end of the rectangular enclosure, and you can see the long mounds here that go around. And within this enclosure, there are many, repeat many, small mounds and larger mounds. And all of this, including this big rectangular enclosure and the round enclosure a couple miles north of here, were repeated many times in this southern Ohio area. This was all done 2,000 years ago by the Native Americans. And nobody really knows the details. Some of these mounds are burial mounds, but the whole enclosures and the circles are the size that they are, and all the same size, and the different locations, and the rectangles are the same size. Nobody understands. Here's an elliptical mound. It's too bad they didn't leave written records so we could sit here and read and know what they were thinking and what they were doing. You have to kind of infer everything from what you can find when they do excavations. But they did a lot of it, whatever they did. There are dozens of these all over the southern Ohio. And they all share this rectangles, or excuse me, squares, and then six-sided hexagonal enclosures, and then large and small round enclosures. Who knows what they were doing, but they spent a lot of time doing it. If you spent a lot of time doing it, it means it mattered to you. They estimate that something like this would have taken 2 or 3 generations to build. Because obviously, 2,000 years ago, you weren't just, this wasn't your job to build these things. Everybody had to eat. In order to eat, you had to hunt and fish, gather food. So you spent most of your time doing that. And you could only devote a certain amount of time to ceremonial mound building. This large mound was excavated in 1920. And they found cremated remains of 20 burials under it. Some were placed on raised platforms with an array of unusual objects around them. A surprise find here was a raised rectangular grave covered with sheets of mica, an exotic mineral not found in Ohio. Atop the mica were cremated remains of 4 people. Why were these 4 people haunted so? Were they heroes or high-ranking society members? We may never know. Here's a casting representing the area that we just walked through. We're here. If you look out from here, you can see a mound here, and then a big mound, and another mound in the distance. And that oblong one was in between. The whole thing's very unusual. Wish I knew what they were doing back then and why. The Hopewell Cultural National Historic Park. You are here, and this is just one rectangle is everything we walked around. But if you back up and look at southern Ohio, there were all these other areas. The Hopewell Earthworks, 50 acres. The Mound City Group, 15 acres. High Bank Works, 60 acres. These different ones. The Mound Group here is 100 oh no, that's a different one. It's 130 acres. The Spruce Hill Works, 140 acres. And the Selp Works, 120 acres. But if you look at all these sites, you see this large circle with a small circle with a rectangle. You see the rectangle, you see the large circle and the small, in the rectangle here, where we are. The circle and the rectangle. The same shapes, circle and rectangle. Large circle, small circle, rectangle. These same shapes were repeated all over southern Ohio. A whole lot of dirt was moved. Big solar farm. If that's not big enough. Day 57. The continuing saga of America's obsession with high fructose corn syrup. The pretty falls. The falls. The stream. and then the gorge that it's made over millions of years. And in keeping with our recent hikes, many stairs. All the layers of rock. New England rock is so boring. And more stairs, of course. Walking the trail around the gorge from the falls. Seems like a big enough bridge for the amount of water going underneath. I assume in the spring there's more water. Right now you could rock hop across if you really wanted to. Through the woods to grandmother's house we go. And if not grandmother's house, at least hopefully a motorhome. That thing about stairs. Yeah. And we're back to the beginning. And why not end it with another set of stairs? This is the Ledges Trail. So far there's no ledges, but we're supposed to be coming to them very soon. I thought we were going to have to climb up and walk around a valley, but apparently the ledges go down from this elevation. That's down. Certainly is. It's a crack in the rock. Bobby could probably climb up by putting his feet and hands on both sides, but I'm not interested. So these are the ledges. Apparently we're going to walk around on the bottom of the ledges and look up, which is a lot better view than walking around the top looking down. Yeah, now we got ledges. Okay, if you like walking under the ledges, they've been there thousands of years. They probably won't fall today. No left turns on this trail. This is what you call not well balanced. Do you look at this one, love? One of these days, I don't know which day, but one of these days is coming down. Definitely someplace different. I said earlier today when you weren't around that New England has boring rock. Other places have much nicer rocks. Just what you love.
You go first.
Love.